This conference will now be recorded.
In last session, we were discussing about what is storage, why do we need storage, and what is EBS, and what is root volume, and what is additional volume also we discussed. So as part of the last session, I created some additional volume, additional storage, I can say additional disk. I created additional disk or additional storage, I can say. That additional storage is attached with this server. It is attached with this server, that additional storage. And that additional storage is mounted with which directory in this server? /var/lib/jenkins directory. And Jenkins working directory is mounted with additional disk, this 15 GB disk. Now, all the data, that Jenkins related data, whatever jobs, plugins, whatever you are going to create, is it going to write the data to that varlib Jenkins? Your Jenkins process is going to write all the data to the varlib Jenkins, and that varlib Jenkins is mounted with this disk, separate disk. So in the root volume, in this root volume, we have only operating system and softwares. Jenkins software is also installed as part of this. The Jenkins related software is also part of that one, because it is part of user bin. Now that working directory is mounted with separate storage. Now Jenkins, let me access Jenkins, which is running in this server. I'm using public IP address and that Jenkins port. Now last week I was able to create this and protected with some password. Now let me delete this one. Let's say I'm trying to create some jobs, some pipelines, or I am trying to install some plugins. I'm trying to install some plugins in this Jenkins. I'm trying to install some plugins. I'm trying to configure some tools, let's say, or I'm trying to add some secrets. I'm trying to create some secrets here, or I'm creating some jobs. Is Jenkins is going to maintain all these things, all this information, where exactly it is going to maintain? Whatever I do, that plugins, secrets, jobs, it is part of varlib. It is part of varlib Jenkins. That is mounted with separate storage now. Let me create some simple, just a dummy pipeline. I'm creating some just a dummy pipeline. Just nothing, just to, because I'm not teaching Jenkins here, I'm teaching a storage here. So just some dummy, nothing is here. Just some dummy job. Now this job is getting triggered. So all this information, will it be part of that Jenkins working directory, your jobs, your build history, your global tools, your secrets? All these things is part of that Jenkins working directory. Now that Jenkins working directory is mounted with separate storage. Now it is part of separate storage. So this is where all my Jenkins data is there. Now, even though this that root operating system is crashed, you are not able to boot your server because this root storage is corrupted. Do we still have our Jenkins data safely available in a separate disk in AWS, separate EBS volume in AWS? Yes. If this happens, you are not able to boot this server. you are not able to start this server, can you terminate this server and create another server where you can install Jenkins? And again, if you mount this storage back to that new server and you mounted with varlib Jenkins again here in that new server, in that new Jenkins instance also, can I see whatever I have already done, like all my jobs, history, plugins, secrets, everything? Yes, that is what we can use. As I already told, can I modify EBS values while it is in use? Suppose you created lot of jobs, you have lot of pipelines, you have executed lot of pipelines, hundreds of jobs are there, 100 times each pipeline is executed, so it has reached its capacity. If your Jenkins, that storage doesn't have enough size, it is 100% utilized, then will you able to run any pipeline? If it is 100% reached, will you able to run any pipeline? Will you able to create any new job? Will you able to install any new plugin if the storage is reached its 100%? I'm talking about this one. It has reached 100%, but in root still you have some storage, but your Jenkins is not using this storage. Your Jenkins is using this storage. Suppose it is reached 100%. Does Jenkins will work as expected? Will you able to create any new pipeline? Will you able to run any pipeline? No. In that case, what is the solution? What can be done? Can I modify the capacity of this EBS size? We can extend. As I already told, do I need to stop my Jenkins or do I need to stop my server while modifying the storage? Now I can directly go from here. I can directly go from here to that value from the server storage section. Otherwise, can I go to this under EBS? Can I go to volume section? Can I see? So this is 15 GB. This is used with this server. This is used with this server. Why this server has two volumes here? If you see, this Jenkins server has two volumes because one is root volume, another one is this additional value. Now, if required, can I modify this additional value? As I already told, if you are running out of storage, actually, can I modify? Can I decrease the size of the storage? No, only we can increase. From 15 GB, let's say, can I increase to 20 GB if required? And what is the max EBS size? As I already told, what is the max EBS size? As I already told, 16 TB. But I am not going to use that one. I'm just saying 20 GB. Now, before applying, if you see LSBLK, before I am modifying, what is the current storage of that block storage? This XVDF 15. Let me modify. I have modified to 20. But if you see, now can I see that as a 20 GB now, that block storage? Yes. But even though it's a 20 GB, is it available? Is that 5 GB available for this mount? Even though that is 20 GB, no. As I already told, do I need to execute resize command on that device? Resize command based on different file system. Since I am using ext4, I am using resize to fs on that device /dev/xvdf. Now if I see, do I have 20 GB available for that bind mount? For that mount now? If you understand, during this process, did I stop my Jenkins process or did I stop my Jenkins, that server? No. This is what value. Similarly, suppose I have a database. I want to have a database server, suppose like MySQL. So what is the directory, working directory of MySQL if you are from a MySQL background? So that is varlib MySQL, I think. That is varlib MySQL. So suppose I need a database server. Can I create a one more EBS volume? Can I mount that EBS volume with this server and attach it with, mount with that varlib MySQL folder, separate server where I will install database like MySQL. So the root volume will be used for booting the operating system. Can I use this additional storage? Can I mount this with my varlib MySQL folder? Here I am going to install database. So if some applications are connecting to this database and you are writing the data to this database, does the database data will be part of this storage because you mounted with separate storage? Yes. So for some reason your database server root file system is corrupted. Do you still have your database safely available in another disk? Yes. Now if this is corrupted, can you create a new EC2 instance? Is it going to get its own root storage again where it will boot the operating system? You can create a new EC2 system. It is going to get its own root storage. It will get its own operating system. Then I need to install first, install MySQL, because the software is part of this one. So do I need to again install MySQL? Once the MySQL is installed, I'll not directly start. Then can I attach this existing disk, this existing EBS volume with this server? Can I mount with this directory? Once I do this, if I start my MySQL process, in this new server also, do I have my all the data, whatever tables, records, whatever we have? Yes. So can I use this EBS as an additional disk to your servers? As I already told, is it recommended to maintain, or is it recommended to use your root volumes to maintain some data like your database data or your Jenkins data or any other data? No. Use additional values. Is everyone clear, guys? What is EBS volume? How to attach EBS volumes? Yes. Now we have a EBS volumes. Now what is snapshots? What is this snapshot? EBS volume is separate, EBS snapshot is separate. What is the meaning of this EBS snapshot? Why do we need to take a snapshots? These snapshots are nothing but what? Backups. Why we need to take snapshots? Why we need to take a snapshot of EBS volume? Snapshot is nothing but a backup. Why we need to take a snapshot of these EBS volumes? Why we need to take a backup of those EBS volumes? Let's say for some reason this storage, this one, I am talking about this one, this additional volume, this additional disk. Suppose this is corrupted, you are not able to read the data from this storage. At least if you have a backups, will you able to restore your data from these backups? If this is not accessible, this is not working as expected, if you have a backup of these values, will you able to recover your data if this storage is corrupted? Because it is a disk, guys. It is a disk in the data center. In AWS data center, it is a disk. Is there a possibility of a failure in that disk, in that hardware, in that disk? Yes. So in that case, if you have at least backups of these values, will you able to recover your data from last backup or recent backup at least? Yes. Even though AWS is saying EBS is highly available service, EBS is highly available service, 99.99% availability. and durability. They are saying 99.99% availability. What is the meaning of availability? The storage is available and data will be accessible. The durability, accessible. It is, the storage is available and it can be accessible 99.99%. But still there is a 0.01% there is a chance it may not available or accessible. So do you want to take that risk 0.01% also? No. I'll tell you the one example. I think recently, 7-8 months back, one of the client, one of the application, one of the client is using AWS infrastructure, and they were not having a snapshots. They were not taking a backups or snapshot of these EBS values. In one of the availability zone, in one of the data center, that storage is not accessible. That storage is not reachable. Their application is impacted, and they don't have a storage also. Unfortunately, AWS is also not able to recover that storage. Unfortunately, AWS is also not able to recover that disk, whatever storage is failed. And these guys are not having a backup, snapshots. Is there any possibility to recover your data if this is the case? No. So that's why AWS is offering all these services. AWS is offering all these services. Yes, AWS is responsible for data restoration, but at the same time, it is our responsibility to leverage all the services is whatever offered by AWS. AWS is offering snapshots concept there. As a user of AWS, do you need to use all those concepts and maintain the backups? AWS tried their level best to restore the data, but since these guys are not having backups and the AWS team is not able to restore or recover that failure disk, failure storage. At least if these guys, whoever is using AWS infrastructure, at least if these guys are having a snapshots, can we recover the data from the snapshot? I mean to say, can we restore the data from backup? Yes. So that's why AWS is offering all these services. At the same time, as a user of AWS, do you need to follow all the best security practices, storage best practices, security best practices, whatever is offered by AWS? Yes. So here, using the snapshots concept, can I take a snapshot of whatever volume, whatever EBS volume I want to take? As of now, do I have any snapshots? Do I have any snapshots as of now? No. So these snapshots can be used for two purposes. These snapshots can be used for two purposes. EBS snapshots are nothing but a backup of value at a specific time, at a given point of time. So EBS snapshots are nothing but a backup of value, and you can take a value at some point of time. So after you taken a snapshot, after you created a backup, if any new changes has happened to that storage, any new files has been created, existing files got modified, will it reflect in that backup whatever you have already taken? No. So that's why, do we need to periodically take a backups of your volumes, like every 4 hours or every 10 hours or every 1 day, like that? Do we need to periodically take a backups of these volumes? Yes. So these volumes can be used for two purposes. One is for restoring. We can restore the data from the snapshot. Suppose I have taken a snapshot of this volume. Let's say this volume I have taken as a snapshot. Now, if something is wrong with this value, this is corrupted. Now, can I create a value from the backup? Can I create a value from the snapshot? Instead of creating a new value, new disk, can I create a value from this snapshot? Can I create a value from this snapshot? Again, yes. And I can create a value from this snapshot. Can I attach this value to this server? I create a value from this snapshot. Can I attach this value to this server? Yes. Once that is done, can I mount this value with whatever directory, like varlib Jenkins directory again, this value. Now, if I mount this one, then will I able to see all my jobs, configurations, whatever was there when I was taking this snapshot? Will I able to access the data again since you restored from snapshot? So we can use this for data restoration. And what is the one more purpose which I can use? Migration. Migration from one availability zone to another availability zone, or one region to another region. What is the meaning of migration? Let's say I don't want this Jenkins server in this availability zone. I want my Jenkins server in another availability zone for some reason. Then can I create a new server in this availability zone? Can I create a new server in this availability zone? If I want to migrate this Jenkins from this availability zone to another availability zone, can I create a new server here where I can install Jenkins? Then can I create a value from this snapshot in this availability zone? I have a snapshot. Can I create a value from this snapshot in this availability zone? Yes. Then I will install Jenkins and I will mount this one again with varlib Jenkins in this server. Then is my all Jenkins pipelines, jobs, configurations, everything will be part of this data center, this server. If required, can I terminate my Jenkins in the other location? If required, can I terminate the Jenkins server in other location? So is my Jenkins is migrated from this availability zone to another availability zone using the snapshot concept. I have taken a snapshot. From the snapshot, I have created a value. Migration, migrating your servers from one location to other location. Migrating in the sense you are not asking AWS to move the servers from this location to this location. Are you going to ask AWS move this hardware, move this disk from this data center to this data center? Are they going to do like that in the background? Are they physically going to move the servers storage? No. So we are migrating the data, whether it is sometimes you will work on migration. Sometimes people will say, I am migrating my applications from on-premise to cloud. What is the meaning of migrating applications from on-premise to cloud? Are they physically moving all the servers in their own data center to the AWS? No. They are just moving all their data. They are just moving all their data from their own data center. Whatever data they have in their own data center, they are copying the data to the cloud and they are creating a servers and storage in the cloud. Now, this snapshot I can use within the AWS also. Can I use this snapshot concept for moving the data from one AWS availability zone to another AWS availability zone? This snapshot concept, yes. Now, this snapshot is at a regional level. This snapshot is at a regional level. What does it mean? If I take a snapshot of this value, it will be available in this region. Using this snapshot, can I create a value in any availability zone in the same region, like Mumbai region, in any availability zone in the Mumbai region? Yes. Similarly, if required, is it possible to migrate data from one region to another availability zone, another region? Suppose I have a Singapore region. Singapore region. Now I want to migrate my servers from Mumbai to Singapore. So is it possible now? Yes. In this case, you cannot directly create a values from this snapshot. You cannot directly create a values from this snapshot in this availability zone. So for that reason, what you need to do? First, you need to copy that snapshot from Mumbai region to Singapore region. You copy the backup as a backup here to Singapore region. Within this Singapore region, in any availability zone, in Singapore, any availability zone, can I create a volume out of the snapshot which I copied to Singapore region? This snapshot has been copied to here. Then using this snapshot, can I create a volume? Is my Jenkins data is moved? Is my Jenkins data is moved from this location to snapshot, snapshot to snapshot, again volume. So is my Jenkins data is available as part of this volume in Singapore? Data center Singapore availability zone? Yes. Then here, can I create a server? Can I create a server? It is going to get its own value, root storage. Is it going to use this as a booting the operating system? This root storage for booting the operating system? Then can I install Jenkins? Then can I mount this one with varlib Jenkins directory with this server? If I start the Jenkins, will I able to see whatever jobs, whatever configurations you had in a Mumbai region? Will I able to see all those things in a Singapore? Which means, is my Jenkins is moved from Mumbai region to Singapore region if I follow this process? So these snapshots can be used for two purposes. One is for recovering the loss, recovering the data, and also at the same time, can I use these snapshots for moving the data, migrating the data from one availability zone to another availability zone, or one region to another region? Yes. So theoretically, everyone is clear. Now let me do the practical. So Kotresh Wali is asking, can we move the root volume also using snapshot? You can do that, but is there any way you can use that backup with that server whenever you are creating? You have taken this as a snapshot, this root, but can I use this volume with the new server? No, because whenever I am going to create a server, is it going to use its own new root value? I'm taking the snapshot of this root, let's say. I'm taking the snapshot of this root, let's say. I'm taking the snapshot. But while I created a value out of this snapshot, but while creating this server, is there any option to select the storage, that root storage? Do you have any option to select the root storage? No. So is it going to create its own root storage? Yes. You can maintain backups. But for new server, can you use this as a root storage again for the servers which you are creating again? No. But if required, can you maintain the backup of your root storage also, root volumes? That is just operating system and softwares. If required, you can maintain, but you cannot attach that as a root storage again to some new server. You cannot attach that as a root storage. But if required, can I attach this as additional storage? The root volume of one server, can I attach to another server as additional value? As additional value and access your files, but not as a root storage. Not as a root storage. Is clear, Venkat and other guy? Now, sometimes in the interview also they will ask where exactly AWS will maintain these snapshots. how AWS will maintain snapshots and where exactly AWS will maintain snapshots. In the background, AWS is going to use what to maintain these snapshots? S3. AWS is going to use S3 to store these backups. But will I able to see those S3 buckets in my own account? If I am taking a snapshot, will those reflect in my account, those S3 buckets? No. But in the background, AWS is going to maintain these snapshots as snapshots in S3. Sometimes in the interview also they're asking this question. Is everyone clear? What is snapshot? Where exactly or how AWS will maintain the snapshot? Where it will maintain the snapshots? Is everyone clear, guys? Okay. Now let me take the snapshot. That snapshots can be taken two ways. One is lifecycle manager, otherwise using the snapshot option. Guys, again, can I take the snapshot using AWS CLI or AWS API or by writing some Boto script using Boto library? Can I execute some Boto script using Python script using Boto library, which can take a backups whenever I execute? Not only from the console, not only from here. Can I write a AWS script, maybe using AWS CLI also? Can I take a snapshot by executing AWS CLI commands or by executing some code also if required? Can I take a snapshots? Yes. Now I am just explaining GUI here. I can go to the snapshot and click on create snapshot. And I can select the snaps. One second. Let me log in. For some reason, this is timed out. So I can go to snapshot and I can take a snapshot of value or snapshot of instance. If I select the instance option and if I select this server, so is it going to take a snapshot of two volumes? Is it going to create a two snapshots, one for root, one for additional? If I select this option, it is going to create a snapshot, two snapshots. Here there is an option, include root value, exclude root value. If I select this include root value, is it going to take a snapshot of this one as well as this one? Two snapshots will be created. Root snapshots also will be created. This additional snapshot also created. If I don't want root, can I select on exclude, so that suppose this server is having two more additional values, is it going to take a snapshot of all those additional values excluding root? Yes. But I don't want to take like this. Can I take a backup of only specific value by selecting this option, volume option? Here it will list. Now can I select the value, the snapshot of this value, this Jenkins value, which is attached to that varlib Jenkins? By selecting this one, you can do. Otherwise, can you go from here also? Can you take a volume backup from this page also? I can go to this volume section. I can select this value. Here, do I have an option of create a snapshot? From here also, can I create it like this? I can select this storage, this EBS value. I can click on this create snapshot. It will create. Otherwise, I can go to the snapshot, create snapshot, select that value. Both are same. Now I am taking a snapshot like this. You can give a tags also. Something like this. I am giving Jenkins value snapshot, something like this, tags. Now, if you observe, while taking the snapshot, did I stop my Jenkins server? Did I stop my Jenkins process? While it is in use, can I take a snapshot? While EBS in use, can I take a snapshot? Yes. Now, is the snapshot is getting created, which means, is it taking the backup of that Jenkins volume, that Jenkins storage? If you see, it is in process. It is in process. Now, this is the backup of that value. This is the backup of that value. Now, if required, if this volume is failed, now can I detach this volume from that server and can I create a volume from this snapshot and again use that with my server? Can I restore my data from the snapshot if you have a loss the data? Yes. So let me simulate that scenario. Let's consider that this snapshot is failed. You are not able to use this disk. Now, first, can I unmount this disk from this server? Let's consider this is failed. You are not able to access. Your Jenkins is not able to read this disk. So first, can I unmount this disk? Let's imagine that scenario. Let's unmount this disk. Something like this: sudo umount /dev/xvdf. That directory I will use. Not. Can I unmount this one? But first I will stop the Jenkins process. Do I need to stop the Jenkins process because you are not able to access this disk? So do I need to stop the Jenkins process first in this server? First I will do that. So how to stop Jenkins process? Can I use this command sudo service Jenkins stop? I stopped my Jenkins process. Once that is done, can I unmount this disk? I cannot unmount if some process is using this disk. So that's why I stopped that process. So I am executing sudo umount that disk. Now, if you see, I removed that disk here. Then can I remove that additional volume from that server? Can I detach that volume from that server because I unmounted? Can I detach this volume from this server? Let's consider this storage is not working as expected. So can I detach this volume by going to this volume, by selecting this volume? Can I detach the volume? Detach the volume from that server. We are removing the disk from the server. I removed the disk from that server. Now if you see, I can see only one after detaching. Can I see only one block storage? That is your root storage now, because I detached from that server. Then from this snapshot, I have a snapshot, I have a backup. From this snapshot, can I create a value in that same availability zone where my Jenkins server is running? Because this is corrupted. Let's consider this is corrupted. If required, can I terminate this one also? Because this is corrupted, can I terminate this one also? Can I delete that disk completely also if required? I have deleted. Now I have a backup. I have a snapshot. Now from this snapshot, can I create a value? I am in the snapshot section. I selected this snapshot. Can I create a value from this snapshot? By selecting this option, create value from snapshot. I'm clicking on this create value from the snapshot. If you see, what was my original volume size? What was my original EBS volume size, guys? 20 GB. Is snapshot also created with 20 GB? Is snapshot also created with 20 GB? And again, from that snapshot I am creating, but do you see, is it already showing 20 GB? But will I able to do like this? 18 GB, 15 GB? the size of the volume can be only increased, not decreased. So my initial EBS volume is 20. But if required, can I create with 30 also now? Even though original EBS volume is 20, can I create with 30? Yes. But I am not doing, just I am taking 20. Now in which availability zone I am trying to create a value from the snapshot? I am creating a value from the snapshot. In which availability zone? In which availability zone my Jenkins server is running? As of now, in which availability zone my Jenkins server is running? 1B, in 1B. So I am selecting that one, and I am creating a value from the snapshot. Value from the snapshot, not directly value. This value is created using snapshot. Let me give some tag here, Jenkins value, something like this, just a tag. Is this value created from backup, or is it created raw? From raw storage we created, or this storage is created from backup? From backup. Now can I attach this value with that server again, with that Jenkins server? If you see, it is just available. Now can I attach to my server again? Attach value to this server, my Jenkins server. Don't modify device because it is additional value only. I attached it back. Now here, can I see that now? If I execute lsblk, can I see this now? But how come it is automatically mounted here? If you see, because in this fs tab file, I think in the fs tab file, do you have that entry already? The moment I attached, it is automatically reflected. But if this is not there, do I need to do that process again? Mount. Guys, when you are attaching back, is it recommended to execute this one again? If you attaching like this, is it recommended to do this on the device? Something like this. What will happen if you do like this? It will format. So is it going to delete whatever data it is there in the disk? Already you have Jenkins data in the disk. It is going to format because this is not a raw storage. This is from the backup. So how can I check whether I already have a file system or not? Can I use this file command on that device? So if it is already having, is it going to show something like this? This is of this type. This is the UUID. So this is already part of your fstab file. It is already part of your fstab file. So that's why it is automatically mounted the moment I attach. Now, even though I do this umount, sudo umount, I am doing on that folder. Even though I am doing this sudo umount, now if you see, I have explicitly unmounted. But again, if I do this just for testing purpose, since it is already part of that fstab file, is it automatically mounted here? Even though I stop the server and start the server, is this directory will be mounted with this one? Yes. Now, if I start my Jenkins process, now, I'm starting my Jenkins process back. Now, if I try to open Jenkins, will I able to see whatever jobs, whatever configurations I have done already? Now Jenkins is started. It is up and running. Now let me access Jenkins. Let me access Jenkins. Is it coming from the beginning, guys? Is it asking me to set up that, get the initial root password and install that plugins? Is it starting from the beginning? No. So Mithun Tech, my password I am typing here. So can I see all the jobs, whatever I have created with the build history also? This job is created and with the build history also. With the build history also. Which means, can I use this snapshot for data recovery, the data restoration, if anything goes wrong with your disk, your volume? So this is how we can use. And what is the another use case as I told? What is the another use case as I told? Now my Jenkins server is in Mumbai region. My Jenkins server is in Mumbai region. Now I want to migrate this to Singapore. I don't want that Jenkins server in Singapore region. Let's say you have that use case, that requirement. Now what can I do? I already have a snapshot. Can I copy this snapshot first to the Singapore region? The snapshot from one region to another region. Because can I create a volume directly from this snapshot in Singapore region? From this snapshot, I cannot create in a Singapore region. So first I will copy this snapshot. If I go to the snapshot section, I'll select this snapshot. Do I have an option here? Copy snapshot. The way we have a create volume, do I have a copy snapshot option here? I am copying that snapshot. So to which location? So this AP South one stands for Mumbai. Similarly, can I see all these locations? Singapore, what is that? Let me see. Technically, what is Singapore? AP Southeast one. So here, destination region, can I select this AP Southeast one? That is Singapore region. Here, destination region, I am selecting this one. Now, is that backup is copied to the Singapore location now? Now the snapshot is getting copied to Singapore region. Sai Srikar is asking, sir, when do we use create image from snapshot? Let's say you have taken a backup of root image, root EBS. You have taken a backup of root EBS. So in that root, you already have installed some softwares like Jenkins and all those things. Now from that root value, I can create an image. That root volume snapshot. You have taken a root volume snapshot, and from that snapshot, I can create an image. What is that image? Basically, AMI. That is for root volume snapshots you can take if required. Image is nothing but AMI. So from the root volume snapshots, will you able to create an image again? Yes, that is different use case. Now let's come back to this one. Here in Singapore region, I am switching to the Singapore region. I am switching from Mumbai to Singapore. In Singapore region, as of now, do I have any? Sorry, 1 second. In Singapore region, do I have servers as of now? Any EC2 instances as of now? But if I go to this snapshot, is that snapshot copied now? If you see, it is saying copied from so and so location. You can see here. This is copied from this location. Just now we copied. Now, here, can I create a server now? Can I create a server where I can install Jenkins? So I can select whatever AMI, Red Hat AMI, instance type, t2.micro. So this is in which network? Default network. And I'm in Singapore region. Do we have a default VPC available in that also? Do I have some subnets default subnets in that Singapore also. If you see here, wherever I want to create, suppose I want to create in AP Southeast 1A, Singapore data center. I'm creating. Again, if you want to do some configuration while installing the server itself, can I give that user data as a script? Suppose I want to install Java, I want to install Jenkins also. Instead of after the server is getting created, can I give that script here itself so that it will be executed? If you want, yes, I will do that directly. Now this is root value. Do I have an option to select the root value? I mean to say existing values can I select here, or always it is going to create a new value for booting the operating system? Always it is going to create a new value for booting the operating system. There is no option here, you can select. Now let me add the tags. Let me add the tags like Jenkins server firewall. If I am going to install Jenkins, do I need to open this port here for everywhere if I want to access? Yes. Now let me create. Guys, this is Singapore region. Again, key pairs. Is key pair is specific to region, or can I use same key pair for all the regions? No. Key pairs are specific to region. So if you don't have any key pair in this region, do I need to create a key pair like this? Some key pair and download. This is for Singapore. Something, some name, whatever you want to give. This is my key pair name, which I am downloading. With that, I am creating a server. I am creating a server. Sir, normally FS tab entry will get added when we do mount volume, correct? No, that has to be manually done. We need to manually done. If you attended the last class, did I done that manually? By going to the VI etc FS tab, I got the ID and I have manually added. But when I'm doing for the second time, how come it is automatically added? Because it was already done and I was using volume from that snapshot, so that's why it has automatically mounted. Now the Jenkins server is up and running here. Can I connect to this Jenkins server and install Jenkins software first in this machine? So let me connect to this Jenkins, this server. I'll install Jenkins first. As of now, how many EBS volumes are there for this server? If you see this server in Singapore region, only one. So this is root. Is OS is getting booted in this disk? Yes. Now let me connect to this one with that new key pair. With that new key pair, that Singapore key pair, which I downloaded. So I am using SSH client. I am using SSH client. I am connecting to that Singapore. I hope you are familiar with this error. I have this PEM file in my laptop, this location, but I am getting this error. I hope you are familiar with this one. So I am just changing the ownership. Mode, ch mode. Permissions. Now I connected to this server. This is in Singapore. As of now, how many EBS volumes, how many block storages are there for this server? One. Now here I will install Jenkins. I will install Jenkins, whatever way you want to install. Jenkins can be installed in many different ways. I'm installing Jenkins by following the official website. But I will follow. I will install instead of Java 11, we'll try to install Java 8 because there was a problem last time. So let me do this first. Sudo yum install wget -y. Guys, whatever services I am trying to cover, even though it's a DevOps course, I am trying to cover full extent, whatever AWS services I am covering, so that you can understand in depth of these services. Whether you work on this one or don't work on this one, it doesn't matter. I am trying to cover full extent of those services, whatever I am covering, so that you can understand what is compute, what is storage, how it works, all those stuff. How can we migrate the data also? We are trying to discuss here. Now, instead of installing this Java 11, what I do, I will install Java 8, 1.8-0, I think, if I am not wrong. Last time we installed like this. Or 8.0. Let me see, guys. Sudo yum list. If I have. So I'm using like this. I'm listing available packages. I'm gripping with Java. So this is available. So I'm taking like this. It is 8.0. Okay. Now let me install that one. Now Java 8 is installed in this one. Once the Java 8 is installed, let me install Jenkins. Let me install Jenkins. Now if I start this Jenkins as is it going to use the root disk to the for Jenkins? Is it going to use root disk if I start this Jenkins as is? Yes. But again, is it going to start from scratch, empty Jenkins? You will need to again install that plugins, configurations, jobs. Nothing will come because it is going to use root. Nothing is there. Once I install Jenkins, I'll not start Jenkins directly. Now, can I create a volume out of this snapshot? Can I create a volume out of this snapshot? Instead of raw volume, can I create a volume out of this snapshot which we copied to Singapore region from Mumbai region? Can I create a volume from this snapshot which is copied to Singapore region? Yes. But before that, let me see in which location that server is running. In which availability zone in Singapore? AP Southeast 1A. Guys, if I go and create a volume from here, it is new volume. Will I have the data in that new volume? If I create a volume from here, it is going to get a new volume, new storage. No. So I'm not creating from here. I'm creating a volume from the snapshot. I'm selecting the snapshot, go to actions, create a volume in which I have to create that is in same AP Southeast 1A. I'm creating there. Let me give a tag for this volume, Jenkins volume, something like this. I am creating a volume from the snapshot. Now I have this volume which is available. Now can I can I attach this volume with my server, that Jenkins server? As of now, it is not done. We just installed Jenkins. Installation is done. As of now, it has only one block storage. Now can I attach this volume to that Jenkins server? actions, attach volume to this instance. Leave the device type as is. Now, can I see that block storage now? This XVDF with 20 GB? Yes. But is it mounted automatically because this is new server? Is this mounted automatically with your Warlib Jenkins? No. So do I need to mount this now with Warlib Jenkins? Do I need to mount this with Warlib Jenkins? Yes. But can we do like this, guys? Do I need to do like this again? If you do this, what will happen? If you do this, what will happen? It will format. So will it erase all the data, whatever is part of that storage? Yes. So this has to be done only for the volumes, which you are creating directly, which means that has to be done whenever you are creating a volumes from here, new volumes. If you are creating a volumes from snapshots, can you do this? If you are creating a volumes from snapshots, no, don't do that. How can I check whether it is already having some format and file system? Can I use this command? If you see something like this, is it already having some format, ext4 format and file IDs, all those things? Yes. Now I will mount. So sudo mount /dev /xvdf var lib Jenkins. Now if I do this, it is temporary mount. But if I stop this server and if I start this server back, will it be automatically mounted if I reboot this server? No. So for that reason, what needs to be done? We need to have an entry in the fs tab file, etc fs tab. So here I need to make an entry, but before making that entry, I have to get the ID. So can I use this ID? Like already it is saying. So you can use some commands also, right? This command, it is returning, or one more command, blk id. So it is returning these details also. blk id -a, or what is that one more option? blk id, it is returning only root. There is an option for that. Plus O, something was there. Plus O, not that one. Let me see. So which we have done. Sudo blk id. I will use sudo. Okay. Now it is also returning this one. Can I take this one and make an entry like this in my fs tab file? They have just given a sample here, which we have already done, guys. So I'm going to get the ID of this one, that XVDF device. And this is sample, but is it correct for my use case? No. This is which directory? /var /lib/Jenkins. And is this the correct type of the storage? I mean to say file system of that storage? No. So it is ext4. So I will make an entry of this line in my fs tab file. In my fs tab file, I'll make an entry. I'll make an entry. This is for root. Don't touch anything here. Don't touch anything here. So I'm making an entry like this. If you want to double check whether your changes are correct or not, can I do like this first? Sudo umount. I will unmount manually that again. That varlib Jenkins I will unmount. Now it is not mounted. Now if I execute sudo mount -a, Since these entries are already part of FS tab, internally it is going to use. If you are getting some error while executing this one, which means is your FS tab changes are correct? If you are getting some error, no. So since I have not got any error, is it successfully able to mount that again back when I execute this command? Yes, so no errors. Even though I stop the server and start the server, now is it going to mount this Warlib Jenkins with this disk? Yes. Now I have done this. Now let me start my Jenkins. Let me start my Jenkins. So let me start my Jenkins. Sudo service Jenkins status. It is not started, so I am starting. I am starting my Jenkins. So is Jenkins started using that Warlib Jenkins that is part of some disk and that has already have some data. That disk has already have the Jenkins data. Now this is going to start the Jenkins. Now if I access that Jenkins, will I able to see all the jobs, whatever configurations, whatever plugins I have done in the Mumbai location, whatever I have in a Mumbai Jenkins server, can I see same jobs, same configurations, everything in Singapore Jenkins server now? If I access, if you have done everything properly, if you have done everything properly, that is what expected. Now let me go to this Jenkins server. Let me take the public IP of this Singapore server 8080. Do you see, is it directly landed me to the login page? Can I use whatever password, username I was using in Mumbai server? Now, do I see that job, whatever pipeline I have created, including build history also? Including build history also. So this way, can I migrate that applications or software, anything, your database application or your Jenkins application or Nexus application or SonarQube application like this also. If you are maintaining the data in a separate directory, separate disk, then will I able to use this EBS snapshots concept to migrate from one location to another location? And if something goes wrong, will I able to restore also from the snapshots? Yes. Now let me terminate this one, because if you switch it back to Mumbai again, you will never go to Singapore region. Will you never go to Singapore region? Your servers will be keep on running. So does AWS will charge you for the server which is running in Singapore, for the storage which you are using in Singapore, for the snapshots which you are maintaining in Singapore? Everything is chargeable. So once your use case is done, once your practice is done, terminate all those things. Terminate all those things. If you see, I am terminating the server. Is it going to terminate the additional value? Whatever we attached that additional value, even though I'm terminating the server, is it terminating the additional value? If you go and see after some time here, if you go and see, is it going to terminate that additional value? Server is getting terminated after some time. You can see here, you will still have this additional value. Only that root value will be terminated. If you see, root value is terminated. Do I still have additional value here? Now, if required, can I create a one more server and attach this value to that server and access Jenkins data by installing Jenkins again? Yes. This has to be manually terminated. This additional value, select this, delete value. Delete value. Now snapshot also, which I copied from Mumbai, do I need to terminate that one? Otherwise they will charge again. So this snapshot also I'll terminate in Singapore. So delete snapshot. I am explaining this just to understand the concept, guys. I am not worried about the charges. Let them charge how much they want to charge, but you should know what is what. That's why I'm terminating. So I have terminated all these resources. Now let me switch back to Mumbai. So whatever region, does this EC2, EBS, the snapshot concept remains same whether I am creating infrastructure in Mumbai, Singapore or US? Whatever concept I do in Singapore, same concepts, right? Now this is snapshots we can take manually. We have one more option, this life cycle manager. What is this life cycle manager? What we can do using this life cycle manager? I can create a policy, life cycle policy. Based on the policy, who will create the backups? Do I need to manually come and create a backups using script or using a GUI? If I create a life cycle policy, who will create a snapshots for your values? That will be taken care by AWS itself. As of now, do I have any life cycle manager for snapshots? Did I created anything? No. If you see, what is this data lifecycle manager or this lifecycle manager under this one? Automate the creation, retention, copy or deletion of snapshots. So if I create some policy, some lifecycle here, based on the policy, who will create the snapshot, who will delete the snapshots automatically? If I create some policy here, who will take care? AWS. AWS will take care. So I don't have any as of now life cycle policies. Let me click on this create, next step. Now here target resources. Again instances or values. Now how can I target which value? AWS has to take a snapshot. What concept they are using here? What concept they are using here? If you see, I want to take a snapshot of values. Based on what AWS will take snapshot? Based on the tags. Suppose let's say this is my key. So I have this value, Jenkins value, this Jenkins value, something like this. Suppose if I want to take a backup of another value also, can I give that tag key and a name like this? Another value also like this. Which means, is it going to target, is AWS is going to take the snapshot of the volume, whatever volume has this tag and whatever volume has this tag also? Like this, can I add what volumes has to be taken as a backups by this manager? I can use tags concept. Let me target only this one. So I'm saying EBS, some description, life cycle manager. So this life cycle requires permissions, because on behalf of us, AWS is going to take a snapshot. Do we need to grant permissions for this lifecycle manager so that on behalf of us it can take the snapshot? Permissions. So I am giving option like default role. This will be created automatically. That role will be created automatically with required permissions, so that lifecycle manager can take a backup. Then can I enable or disable this lifecycle manager? Which means if I enable, it will take a backup. Even though this lifecycle manager is there, if I have disabled, is it going to take those backups, snapshot, if this is disabled? No. So I'm enabling so that it will take a snapshot. At any point of time, can you disable also? At any point of time later also, can you disable this policy manager? Yes. So I want to enable because I want to take a snapshot. Here, next section, schedule. What is the meaning of schedule here? It is like a job, cron job, kind of a scheduler. So frequency, how frequently? Can I say weekly? Can I say daily? Can I say monthly? Can I say yearly? When it has to take? Or custom cron expression. I can define a custom cron expression also. Suppose if I say daily, again every 24 hours. If I say something like this, daily how many snapshots is going to be taken for that volume? 1. And when you have to start that process? So if I say something like this, at midnight, is it going to start? Midnight. It is 24-hour format. It is going to start at midnight. Now, if I want to take every 8 hours or 12 hours, can I say midnight 12 o'clock it will take once, and again afternoon 12 o'clock it is going to take once. So daily how many backups of that volume AWS will take? If I say something like this, two volumes. Now, what is this retention type? So if this policy is running for 1 month, let's say how many snapshots we will be having. If this policy is running for 1 month, how many snapshots we will be having? 60. But do I really need to maintain all the 60 snapshots? Not required. If in case of any failure, are you going to restore with the recent one, the new snapshot, which means recent backup? Yes. You are not going to restore with very old backup. So can I say like maybe last 2 snapshot is sufficient, or last 5 snapshots is sufficient for me? So which means is it going to delete the old snapshots, and is it going to maintain only last 5 snapshots? If I like give like this, automatically it will delete also. So will it save some some cost also for me? Automatically it is going to delete old snapshots. Yes, something like this you can create. Review policy and create a policy. Now if I come and verify maybe tomorrow, can I see some snapshots here automatically created, like 2-3 snapshots? If I come and verify tomorrow here, as per this policy, it is going to take the snapshots. If required, can I disable this policy? Instead of deleting, can I disable this policy? As I already told, enable is there, disable is there. If I disable, policy will be there, but is it going to take the snapshot as per the policy? No. So maybe you can check tomorrow. If you create like this, later you can delete. Otherwise, it is keep on taking the snapshot. Will they charge you for those last 5 snapshots again? So I am deleting. So is everyone clear, guys? What is EBS volume and how to attach EBS volume to the server, and what is snapshot, why we need to take snapshot, and what is this lifecycle manager? Is everyone clear? Now, in the interview perspective, they are going to ask a few questions. The most important one in the interview perspective, if you are focusing only on the interview, but I won't suggest only interview, don't learn for only interview perspective, I don't suggest, but let me cover again. So in the interview perspective, they will ask what is the minimum size and what is the maximum size of EBS? What is the minimum size and maximum size of EBS? Minimum 1 GB, maximum 16 GB. And root value, they will ask, can I use S3 or EFS as root values to boot the operating system? No. That root value can be either EBS and also instance store or local store. But instance store or local store, is it recommended? No. So EBS store. Now, one more important, EC2 is in one availability zone and EBS is in another availability zone. Is it possible to attach that disk with EC2? No. So the thumb rule here, does EC2 and EBS should be in same availability zone in that region? Yes. And sometimes they may ask can I attach one EBS with multiple servers simultaneously? Which means, can I connect one EBS disk with multiple servers simultaneously? No. If you really want to do, can you detach from one server? Can you attach back to other server in that same data center if required? Yes. but not at the same time, which means is EBS volumes are shared volumes. Can we share with multiple servers? No. And what is snapshot? What is lifecycle manager? You can understand. Now, let me cover one more use case. If AWS some reason volume is corrupted, still AWS will take snapshots. Yes, it is going to keep on taking the snapshot if that storage is accessible. If that storage is not accessible in AWS data center, does AWS also will be able to connect to that storage and get the data? If it is not accessible, no. Right? If it is accessible, then it will take. If it is not accessible, yes, snapshot also cannot, AWS also cannot connect, right? That is how it works. Okay. Now, let me cover one more use case. Sometimes in the interview also they are asking. Now I have this EC2 instance. I lost the PEM file of this EC2 instance. What is the meaning of PEM file? What is the meaning of PEM file? That key pair, that private key. Let's consider you don't have password-based authentication enabled for this server. You don't have password-based authentication enabled for this server, or you don't have any other user or password to connect to this server. You have only default user and a PEM file. And that PEM file is part of my, my local laptop. I don't have anywhere else. I don't have a backup of this PEM file anywhere else, let's say. So which is part of my local laptop, and I lost that PEM file. Let's say this PEM file. Will I able to SSH to that server if I don't have any other user and any other password to connect? No. Then how can I recover? I mean to say, how can I connect that to server? There are multiple options here, guys. So AWS is having session manager concept. Session manager concept. But your EC2 instance should have that SSM agent installed. Your EC2 instance should have a SSM agent installed. If you have a SSM agent with the required IAM role attached to that EC2 instance, directly using this session manager, you can connect. Directly using the session manager, you can connect, which means you can directly SSH without username, without, I mean to say, without PEM file also, you can directly reach. This is a different service. Anyhow, I am not covering this one. This is altogether a different service, session manager. But as of now, the session manager agent is not installed in the server, and this required IAM role is also not attached with that server. So will I able to connect to that server using session manager service? No. Now I have only key pair. Now this I have lost. Now where exactly your public key is there for that server in your root value? Is it part of that home directory, that EC2 user .ssh? Which location you have that respective public key of that private key? Authorized keys. Now this is your PEM file of that private, that public key. You are able to connect with this key. Guys, I already explained what is going to happen when you execute SSH command. In the background, what is going to happen? So what is going to happen when I'm executing SSH command? Is it, I am using SSH-I, this PEM file. Now, is SSH client is going to send this PEM file on that IP, on that user? So first, your SSH client will try to connect this server on this user by using this PEM file. If port 22 is opened, then it will talk to the SSH service. If port 22 is blocked, does the firewall itself will reject this request, SSH request? Yes. If firewall is opened, then it will go to SSH service. Do we have a SSH service running on which port in this server always? 22. So is that SSH process is going to verify whether whatever key you are sending, do I have a respective public key in this location of that user? Yes. Then only it will allow. Suppose you lost this PEM file, you lost that key. Now, will you able to SSH? You lost that key, you don't have that key. Will you able to SSH to this server? No. If I create another server with a new PEM file, can I use that PEM file to connect to this server? I created another server. Can I directly use that new key pair, whatever I use for this new server, can I directly use that key to connect to this old server without making any changes? No. Then how to do this? How to recover? There are multiple options here. Can I create an image out of this server? Can I create an image, AMI? Can I create a AMI out of this server? Amazon machine image. Can I create a AMI out of this server? While creating a AMI, is it going to take this one? This root is going to be used. On top of that root, it is going to take a AMI. So whatever softwares I have installed in this server, will it have that part of this AMI, like your Red Hat operating system? Suppose I have installed Jenkins software also as part of this one. If I create a AMI out of this one, it is going to create a image out of this root. If required, while creating a AMI, can I choose AMI, create a AMI with volumes also? Create a AMI with volumes also? Additional volumes also? Yes. Additional volumes also? Yes. I can create a AMI with root volume or including additional volumes also. I can create a AMI. Using this AMI, can I create a new EC2 instance? Using that AMI, can I create a new EC2 instance? So while creating this new EC2 instance, at the last section, can I create a new key pair and download that key pair? While creating this new EC2 instance, at the last step, can I select create new key pair because I lost the old key? Can I create a new key pair and use that key pair? And server is created out of this AMI. So in that server, will I have all the softwares, whatever is part of root already? Because I created a AMI out of this server. Will I have all those softwares? Yes, but I have chosen the new key pair while creating this server. So does AWS will copy the respective public key to this root volume, whatever is going to be created for this new server? Again, it is going to create a new root value, but this root value is from this image. So if I already have some softwares, will it be part of this root? And it is going to copy the new key. AWS is going to copy the new key to this storage. Now if I connect to this server and access, will I able to access all the softwares, whatever is part of that server, this old server? Can I see that in the new server? If I follow this process, I'll create a AMI to EC2, I can access. But IP will be changing. Does your private IP also will change because this is new server? Private IP also change and public IP also will be changed. But I don't want this to happen because in lot of locations, if I am using that server, do I need to update that IP in a lot of locations? Maybe in your code, your locations, all those things, you need to update private IPs. If I don't want this to happen, what is the other way? I will explain. But let me show you how I can do this one. The first option. So this is my server. I lost the PEM file. By selecting this server, can I go to actions, image? Can I click on this create image option? From this server, I am creating a AMI. So can I call this as my own AMI? Can I call this as my own AMI, my AMI? So Jenkins server AMI. Now if you see, do I have an option here whether I want to select only root value as a AMI, or is it saying, do you want to take that additional value whatever you have attached to that server also? It is saying if you don't want to do this, you can remove this one. You can remove this into box. Now I can select like this, tag image and snapshots together option. I am creating a AMI. So in the background, is AMI is getting created out of that server? Is the AMI is getting created out of that server? So is this AMI is going to use snapshots concept again, snapshot concept again. So this AMI, while creating a AMI, what is going to happen, guys? It is taking the snapshot of that. It is going to take the snapshot of that root value as well as additional value. I can see the snapshot also here once it is done. Now from this AMI, can I create a server? If you see this AMI, my AMI, it is having two devices. Now from this AMI, can I create a server again by selecting this AMI? Once the AMI is ready, you can do that. Now AMI still, it is in pending state, it is still creating. Once this AMI is ready, can I go and create a server out of this AMI by selecting a new key pair because I lost the old one? We can do that. Let me show that. Once this AMI is ready, it is still in pending state. It will take some time. Two minutes, guys. I'll wrap up the session. I'll continue tomorrow. Just 2 minutes. AMI is getting still created. I can see that AMIs, my AMIs, owned by me, owned by me. This is my own AMI. After practice, yes, you need to remove all the snapshots and AMIs. Otherwise, it is going to charge you. AWS is going to charge for every service which you are using. That is their revenue, right? That is their business. That is their revenue. They are not doing any charity. They are not doing anything for free. So you are leveraging services from AWS. So you are paying. If you don't want, after practice, you delete. One second. So once this AMI is ready, what is the use of taking a backup of root value? Now I'm not taking a backup of root value. I'm taking a snapshot out of root value. I mean to say AMI out of root value. So if I use this AMI, if I create a server, will I have that Jenkins software also automatically reflected in that server? That mount tabs, that FS tab settings also? Because I am taking a AMI out of that server. So from this AMI, I am going to create a server. In that server, can I see whatever is part of my old server root storage, like Jenkins software, your FS tab settings, all those things. So do I need to again configure that server? It's exactly copy of your old server, because you are creating a AMI out of that server, and using this AMI you are creating a new server. It is like exactly copy of your old server with a new key pair. I can connect with new key pair, because while selecting this AMI, Now this AMI is available. I can select this AMI, and let me go here. From here also, I can go from here or here also. Now here, from this server, I have taken a AMI. Now from here, I can create a server. Now can I select this AMI? Whatever AMI I have, my AMIs. If I select this AMI and proceed further with new server creation, I selected my AMI. I'll continue all these things. Now if you see, do you see? Is it automatically showing that root volume as well as additional volume? This additional volume is going to be created from that snapshot. When this snapshot is created for root, when this snapshot is created for this additional, while creating an image out of that server, is the snapshots are created for root as well as additional while creating a AMI out of that server? Yes. So if I use this, if I proceed further, I'm opening the firewall because this is new server. This is new server. In the last section, this key pair is lost. I don't have this key pair. Can I select a new key pair and download that key pair and proceed with server creation? I'll download this key pair and proceed with server creation. That new server, can I connect using this key? And will I have Jenkins and that additional volume also part of that new server? Everything is same as your old server. In that case, can I use this server and can I terminate that old server for which I lost the prem file? I can terminate that old server and I can start using this new server. This is one process. There is another process also. I'll continue that tomorrow. I will explain that tomorrow. Is everyone clear? What is the first option? This, you can create a AMI and you can create a completely new server using that AMI. But if you have a session manager, do I need to worry about anything? If I have a session manager agent installed in that one with required permissions, you don't need any key. You can directly connect to that server using session manager. That is one more option. Another option I will explain tomorrow. Okay. Thank you guys. I will continue tomorrow. More than what I am teaching, you have to practice what I am explaining also. At the same time, whatever I am covering, and at the same time you have to practice also, guys. If you don't practice, will you able to remember this for a long run? Maybe after 1 week, after 10 days, if I come and ask what is what, you will not answer. And also these are the actual concept we will use. Whether you are using on-premise, whether you are using data center or cloud, do we need a server? Do we need a storage for that server? Do we need to attach additional storage? Do we need to increase and decrease the storage capacities? Do I need to take a backup of my storage? Is it a common for all the data center operations as part of data center? Your infrastructure? This is what we are going to do. If you already do lot of hands-on, you have already done lot of hands-on. By practicing more, if you already do this in your project, if you got a requirement of creating a snapshot, moving the snapshot from one location to other location, attaching those volumes to the server and mounting, will you able to easily do as per the given requirement if you have done lot of hands-on already? Yes. So practice is very, very important. I want everyone to make their hands dirty by practicing more. I want everyone to make their hands dirty, which means practice more and get it familiar with your tools, whatever you are using. In the interview also, if they ask these type of questions, in the work also, if you get, do you really need support, proxy, anything? If you are already done lot of practice, hands-on, not required. So assignments are very, very important. We are giving assignments not as a punishment to you. Don't consider why Balaji sir is giving, Bhaskar sir is giving assignments and they are scolding. If they are not doing the assignments, they are scolding because if you are not attending the class, they are scolding. Don't take that as a scoldings. Everyone is a professional. Ideally, you are mature enough to understand why you joined the course and what is the whole purpose you joined the course. You should know, but still, we are trying to make sure you are going on the right track so that you can utilize this course to full extent. If you don't join the classes, if you don't do the assignments, and we are also not scolding, you will become very light. You will not attend, but after 6 months you will, sir, I have done the DevOps course but I am not able to crack the interview. Why you are not able to crack the interview? Because you have not done, not take that seriously when we are discussing, and you have not done the assignments, you have not done the practice. So that's why we are giving assignments and scoldings. Don't take it otherwise. This is not a school. I am a working professional. I have 10 years of experience. These guys are handling like a school kids. Don't take that way. Everything, whatever we are trying to convey here is for your best career path. Okay. Try to do the assignments. We are here to help you. Thank you, guys. That's it from my side. I'll continue tomorrow. Whatever practice I have, whatever topic we have discussed, try to practice. We'll continue tomorrow.